Hi, Claudia. Well, welcome to another edition of My English Talk Show. A special guest today. As you know, we're broadening our French, so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. We had our teacher on last week, Carlene. Don't forget, our next class is Saturday the 22nd. If you miss a class, you get the recording of the class. How should I introduce you? Because I want to put a name down here. Can I use your real name, or you want to invent a name?
Dianne is fine.
Dianne, just Dianne.
Yes.
Licenciada.
I'm a fashion stylist.
Huh?
Fashion stylist. That's my profession.
Dianne, fashion stylist.
Yes.
Wow, okay. That's a great topic in English and French. And it blends the two. Why did I think of that?
It does.
All right.
Good idea.
Okay. Well, we've been talking that whole time. I'll have to cut out. Very special guest on the program today. Dianne, who is not only a model, but she's a fashion stylist.
I am.
Thank you for coming on. I wanted to, just in talking about, there's a lot of talk now about returning to the office. And I've heard from a lot of HR managers that they'll sometimes monitor conference calls and see people in their pajamas or with no picture. The companies are starting to come back to the office little by little. And I think, in my humble opinion, I know I only know what I read in catalogs and things, but anyway, from going from 25 into 26, what changes do you see coming in men's and women's fashion trends, both for the office or for casual wear? What trends do you foresee for the coming year and seasons?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me in your talk show. I'm
very interesting topic. I'm sure a lot of people want to hear about it.
Sure. I'm very happy to be here, and I love to talk about fashion. So let's get it started with fashion trends. For next year, we're already in fall-winter season right now, and this year's Pantone color proposal was lime green, which was a little bit too bright, a little bit too neon, a little bit too pastel.
Lime green.
Lime green was the color of this year, and I have not yet checked what the Pantone Institute of Color has been proposing for next year, but there is always like the main color of the year, and we have a color palette that goes along with it. And we see that color palette all throughout.
So a palette is like from lightest to darkest and all the different. Okay.
It's a range of colors throughout the brightest and the darkest shades to show you variations of that main color, which is the fashion proposal for the year. And this year was lime green.
What I was thinking about, who decides this?
Well, the industry has these fashion forecast agencies which study the behavior of the consumers. They study the behavior of the fashion industry through the designers and the runways of the top-notch high-end brands and designers of the world. And they predict, along all of those information, they do predictions, but by the other hand, there is this forecast agency that specializes on color, which is called the Pantone Institute of Color, which has been leading the color trends throughout many years, and today is still a big leader on the industry, even though it's only part of the information that clothing brands use to produce their clothes. For example,
so they feel they have to follow what the other companies are doing, whether it's casual or formal wear.
Yes, traditionally it works like that. But nowadays, because of social media and all of those kinds of communications through the internet, brands producer clothing according to what people like to wear every day on the streets and what all these forecast agencies tell the big industries what forecast they're deciding to predict about color or silhouettes or materials. So it's like 50-50 of the information. They study the public and they study these agencies and institutions. It works like that.
So your short answer would be we don't know yet.
We don't know yet, but we're soon to be revealed because every year...
What do you predict?
I predict...
We won't hold you to that, but what do you predict?
I predict...
people are going back to the office a little more, a little more, a little more.
Mm-hmm. For
and
example,
I've noticed over 2 years a very slow return to more traditional, but not 100%.
okay.
Do you think that'll have some impact?
Yes, of course. Mainly because formal clothes and elegant clothes is very trendy nowadays on our daily lives, not only reserved for the office. So in the pandemic, we were wearing a lot of homeware, which means it's like a very specific kind of pajama. Pajama.
No, don't laugh. I don't laugh. I've heard human resources people tell me they'll walk and they'll maybe be involved in the conference call and they'll see somebody literally in not jammies as we would say in English, but pajamas.
Yes.
Or covering their faces completely.
That's true, and that was a very popular trend during the pandemic because people used to stay at home and they would not wear pajamas all day, but they will wear casual wear, which is very comfy.
It's 7:30 in the morning. Yeah.
Yes. So that those habits remained from the pandemic, and nowadays we are having trouble with Zoom calls and human resource people getting the notifications that maybe somebody's not wearing pants or maybe somebody's in their pajamas, and that is terrible. That's why in terms of coming back to work, we're always getting dress code with specific types of clothing, but also we have a little bit more of range because from the pandemic, we are keeping all those habits of staying comfortable, but we want to look good. So, oversized clothing is in the meeting point of the trend right now, which means we're gonna be seeing a lot of baggy pants, baggy sweaters, baggy blouses, baggy shirts, and oversized clothes to stay comfy.
Baggy or baggy? Like loose?
Baggy, like very loose, like very comfy, like almost oversized. And by oversized, I mean 2 or 3 sizes above your original
Not just
size.
because they have a weight problem, just that's the style.
Yeah, especially younger generations like to wear loose clothing. So that's a little bit of the trends that we're going to be having next year, 2026.
Okay, I've maybe... Well, I won't say my age, but when I was born, Lyndon Johnson was president of the United States and Gustavo Díaz Ordaz was president of Mexico. And they were good friends, but that's the time I was born. And
what do you think about these fashion trends?
I've noticed it, and maybe I would imagine it's comfortable for people.
It is,
especially in warm weather.
Yes.
I can understand that, but I know. Well, I grew up in the '80s. I'll say that, and things were very colorful.
They were.
There was a very clear line between masculine and feminine. It was very clear, and I think that's, in my view, kind of gone away a little bit.
You are so right. It's actually fading away, and trends.
So it's going back the other way, or the trend is?
Trends work along a social pendulum, I would call it like that, and many people who studied sociology call it like that, that we go from a very extreme and disruptive perspective all through a very conservative point of view. And right now, we are heading through a conservative point of view from younger generations.
So your observation at the current time, what we might expect is to see a more, somewhat of a trend back towards conservative.
Yes, you are right.
Okay.
And even though we are exploring and blurring many kind of lines according to what fashion trends offer to males and females, many people choose to stay on the classical side of fashion. So we have both.
I've seen that a little bit. And, okay, I'm going to let you be very, very honest.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got on a black vertical and horizontally striped jacket. And I found this, I just fell in love with this shirt the other day because it's black, it's red, it's vertical, a little horizontal. Be perfectly honest. You can be, okay. Good choice or bad choice?
Good choice because your suit is
Tell me
dark
why.
and-
Tell me why.
Okay,
It's a good choice.
let's go through it.
All right.
The bright color is in the center of your body, which calls all the attention to an elongated perspective of your
Elongated.
torso. Yes.
Okay.
And that works really good because all of the attention works throughout your torso and pulls your face into the frame. And your shoulders and your proportions work very good with dark colors because dark colors are very friendly with most body types. So if you want to call the attention to the shirt that you like the most, you're doing it right because you're wearing a darker color framing the brighter one in the center. So that's great.
Wow. Now, red and black, I always thought, from when I was little, I thought red and black look nice together.
Yeah, it's a classical combination.
Red and black and lime green, I don't know.
Oh, that's very risky, but trends are all about that, taking risks and having fun just for a little moment because that's why
That's
they
a good
change.
point too. Sometimes people dress to have fun, and that's a third category.
It is.
Work, casual, and fun, and then the beach, I imagine. Now, you look quite elegant. Can you?
Thank you.
Would you mind standing up and explaining your choices?
Sure, of course.
Just
Today.
explain your choices.
Okay, since we are trending on oversized fits, I chose not to tuck in my shirt to have a loose look because my pants are also loose. So,
And then I'm just observing.
These
Your
are my
shoes are quite dark too.
yes, I
Really
chose a
dark.
full black look to have more seriousness in my fashion class, but I like.
And that was my
dark
first
colors and-
impression when I walked in. She's serious, but she's friendly.
Sure.
Okay.
And when you are exploring a trend, it works very good when you use classical colors like black to explore a different fit, like having oversized clothes.
Is that what they mean when you can't go wrong with a black dress?
Yes, of course.
For women, anyway, yeah.
That's exactly the message.
Okay.
It's classical and it's modern at the same time.
Now, what you mentioned loose, I suppose you mean like upperwear, shirts, blouses, what have you. I've noticed belts, for example, going on the pendulum, in, out, in, out. For the office, what would you say? Is a belt more appropriate, or to tuck your shirt in real nice and have no belt, or tuck your shirt in real nice and go out without a belt? What do you think looks, okay, if the pendulum is over on the conservative side, what is your opinion?
Okay, my opinion is that if a belt is not helping your outfit to stay in place, then it's helping the outfit to look more expensive, elevated, or to give you some kind of status. So,
Let me see if I understood. Belt adds status or subtracts?
they do add status.
They do add.
Yes, an extra accessory makes people understand that you're taking time to build your self-image. So
Okay.
that gives you a higher standard when you're presenting yourself in an office, when you have to give a big impression or a good impression. So I recommend
In
that.
an interview or something like that.
Of course. Also,
I've heard HR people tell me, this candidate has an excellent resume. I know he or she can do the job, but I'm not going to send him or her out to talk to a customer.
Okay.
And maybe they're going to a software design place, and that's, hey, he looks cool. Or maybe they're going to an investment bank or something. Yeah. So I get a pass on my choice today, and you certainly do. And well, it's a topic we're going to follow up more on next time. And remember, if you're interested in fashion, you may also be interested in our new French class, which is starting this Saturday. Many words in the fashion, culinary, travel, hospitality, law come from French. So knowing some French will actually help your English vocabulary a little bit too.
I agree.
And there are more than 40 countries in the world where French is the official, semi-official language. Dianne, fashion stylist, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We hope to have you in with us more often.
Of course. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Night, Claudia. Night.